The college football transfer portal is open, which means Colorado's getting active. Let's talk about some of their top targets.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We're also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the business. So thank you guys for making me your first listen of the day. We're going to be talking about the transfer portal. It opened today, finally. There's been a lot of back channeling and all this jazz, but now we officially know who Colorado's going after. I called a couple of them. Little pat on the back for myself there. So I'll dive into that. We're going to dive into Colorado's portal mindset and why it's probably changed and why I think fans need to sort of come to grips with reality, which seems to be a foreign concept to certain Colorado fans these days. And then we're going to go over and talk about hoops and why I think Colorado is not going into Big 12 play on a strong note. But let's talk portal. The Buffs have offered, and they're hosting 4 visitors. I think actually the number's grown to 5 or 6, but they're hosting, they're offering, everyone's getting active. And Colorado has to bring in, the number's around 50. They have to bring in around 50 transfer portal guys to sort of fill the roster because they've lost around 30 to the portal. They were very veteran heavy this past season, while it didn't seem like it because they had a bunch of guys who did not care and simply weren't good. So Colorado has to bring in a lot. So let's run through. I'm going to go through each of the names that I have confirmed and I know for a fact, and I'll give you a little breakdown on each of them, sort of tell you what they bring to the table. So starting with Dylan Manuel over at App State, interior defensive lineman, 37 tackles, 1 sack, run defense grade, according to PFF, of a 75.8, which isn't bad at all. I think a lot of people, you see a guy like this and you just think of the physicality he brings. 6'1", 300 pounds from Georgia. Listen, not all of these guys are going to have the highest grades. Not all of these guys are going to be the former 5-star recruits, and I'll get to that a little bit later. Colorado is going off of potential, and they also need depth pieces, right? And I don't know, based on the fact that they have 0 of interior defense linemen, I don't know where everyone fits into the mold, but I do know they need a lot of them. So Dylan Manuel, big body, help stuff the run, stop the run. I like the addition there, or the potential addition there. MJ Stroud over at Georgia Southern. Edge defender, 33 tackles, 6.5 sacks. Colorado as a team had 13, 3 forced fumbles, pass rush grade of 78.7. Now, he's a guy that I think, again, a lot of these guys aren't coming from the best of teams, but they're guys who have earned their way into the portal in a sense. Like, everyone could be in the portal, but it's not smart for everyone to go into the portal. Both guys are from Georgia, so Coach Prime and company are clearly targeting Georgia, Florida guys. Shocker, I know. But this will be his 5th year, so he's a veteran, experienced. It's his best year of his career. In 2024, he had 24 tackles and no sacks. So he added more tackles, added more sacks. Pretty big there. Pretty big possible addition. Sorry, I don't know why English is so hard for me today. This is one of the guys that in my initial lists I said Colorado should target, and I'm glad they are. Ezra Christensen, New Mexico. Number 6 edge in the country, according to PFF's grades, 88 overall grade, 87.2 pass rush, 79.3 run defense, 42 total tackles, 6 sacks, a forced fumble. And I would say my favorite part about watching him play is the fact that he could probably play every single position on the defensive front. And I'm sure if you wanted him to play a little bit of linebacker, I'm sure he could do that as well. The dude is he's athletic. He's very, very, versatile. And I think if you're Colorado, you need someone who could be disruptive. And I think that's the sort of kind of guy you want. He's a first-team All-American. Programs like Minnesota, Kentucky, UCF, they're after him. So a lot of schools are after him. Colorado they have a lot of company with him, but I do think they should pursue him heavily. Andrew Zock, 11.5 sacks over at Mercer. And quite frankly, Colorado, like I said, 13 sacks as a team. And it's one of those things where it's like, hey, you need all the help you could get, and it doesn't hurt that this guy has a lot of potential and a lot of experience getting to the quarterback. Phil Still's FCS Defensive Player of the Year. He's set officials to Colorado and Toledo. So obviously, I wouldn't say he's a high-end P4 player, but he's definitely a guy that could come in and make a difference. And I mean, Colorado, you need all the help you could get. You need depth pieces. If he comes in and gives you 4 or 5 sacks next year, that's great. Justin Eglin, I don't want to mispronounce it. Hopefully I'm not. James Madison, defensive back, just played in the playoff. 5 interceptions, 8 pass breakups. His PFF grades weren't, I won't say crazy by any means, but or Justin. Did I say James? I meant Justin. Apologies if I said that incorrectly. But he's a good player. I mean, he's a really good player. He's a guy that stands in at 6'1", 175. Colorado needs corners. They didn't have any. I won't say they didn't have any good corners last year because it's not true. But they didn't get the performance they needed from the corners they had. Right? DJ McKinney is out in the portal right now. He went from projected first round pick to projected undrafted free agent. So if I'm Colorado, I'm sort of being like, hey, we messed up with our corners last year. We're changing things. I thought that would mean a change at corner coach or defensive backs coach. That hasn't been announced yet. At this point, I don't think it will because I don't see why you wouldn't announce that, but Coach Prime operates in mysterious ways. And then Nathan Mitchell, I believe is how you say it. He's from New Mexico State. He's a safety. 93 total tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 3 picks. Didn't have the best grades, but his production and sort of like his effort level is what stood out to me. I don't think you're just going to go out there and find a Tafik Bayard, right? There's not many guys in college football who will break their hand and play through multiple injuries all year long just because they love ball. And there's not many guys who like talk about how important being a leader is to them. And I don't know if you just find a Tafik Bayard somewhere on the street, but I do know like, hey, you need a couple good safeties because right now you have Carter Stottmeyer and Ben Finiseth. I think both of those guys are fine depth pieces, fine bench pieces. Don't think either of them should be starting. And then lastly, this may be the name of the portal. His name is Gideon, ESPN Lampron. He was at, I think it was Bowling Green. I mean, just a baller, first of all MAC linebacker, just a guy that he has a knack for finding the ball. This season, 119 total tackles, 65 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Started his career at Dayton, has worked his way up, and then number 28 graded linebacker in the portal, 86.4 defensive grade, 84.5 run defense grade, 81.8 pass rush. Not only name alone is he a take in my eyes, because I mean ESPN as a middle name is just so fire, but he's another guy that brings what Colorado needs, which is run defense ability, pass rush ability, tackling ability. Right? Colorado needs it all on defense. Their front 7 was a literal disaster, and we're going to see them target a lot of defensive guys in the portal. Offensively, they're targeting a few wide receivers, right? DeAndre Moore, it's been confirmed that they're going after him. That's a Brendan Marion connection right there. Brendan Marion recruited him to Texas. Whenever I watch Texas, DeAndre Moore is a guy that can make plays. He can make the diving catch. He can do this, but he's a guy that's willing to block. And I think he'd have a chance at an expanded role here at Colorado because obviously at Texas, they had Ryan Wingo. They had Parker Livingston, who is in the portal as well. He's a 6'4" receiver that maybe Colorado should take a look at as well. That being said, DeAndre Moore was always sort of the third guy. Even last year when they had or who they have last year. I'm totally blanking. But they had a lot of talented guys in front of them. And so it just always felt like they had Isaiah Bond, they had Matthew Gold. That was who they had. I was thinking Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, but that wasn't it. But he's always been sort of that third guy. I think at Colorado, he could have the opportunity to be the first guy, and that's probably Colorado's pitch to him. So Colorado's after him. And then they also are going after Chase Hendricks, who had 1,000 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns, 71 catches this year. Let me talk about, you need wide receivers. And I think a lot of people are going to scoff and be like, why would Colorado need more wide receivers? Because you don't have any proven ones outside of Joseph Williams. And quite frankly, Joseph Williams, I trust him in the sense of like, I think he'll make plays when he's available. But at the same time, I'm worried about Joseph Williams because he didn't come back on time during the bye week. Like, is Joseph Williams good enough on and off the field to be someone that Colorado could build around? Is he the right culture fit? I think he's a good fit in terms of like, he's a good kid, it seems, but I think he made a mistake, and I don't know if I trust him as the main guy. Chase Hendricks, career year. He's been building up to this. 11 catches his freshman year, 40 catches last year, and then explodes this year. If we're talking to DeAndre Moore, his stats they don't like jump off the page to me, but he's been consistently productive. 39 catches last year for 456 yards and 11.7 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. 38 catches this year, 532 yards and 4 touchdowns. So Colorado's out there in the portal. I like a lot of these guys. I like a lot of the ideas of some of these guys because it's like, hey, you're getting starters, you're getting depth pieces, you're getting guys who could contend for whatever, and Colorado needs a whole lot of them. Now, I think a lot of you will notice Colorado is going group of 5 FCS heavy. Some people are upset with that. I think that's the right move, and I'll explain why after the break. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Rougiet. Now, guys, fellas, we always want to be ready when that moment comes. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, life, money doesn't just switch off at night. And when it shows up the worst possible time, Rougiet Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rougiet Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment created to both support the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. The science behind Rougiet Ready stands out. 3 clinically proven ingredients and 1 formula designed for both mental and physical readiness. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men have made the switch. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to Rougiet.com/lockedoncollege. It's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. Let's talk portal mindset for the Buffs. And I've been seeing this a lot on Twitter, and this isn't just a Twitter rant, but it is kind of inspired by that. Colorado is going group of 5 FCS heavy right now in terms of guys they're targeting. They're obviously going to target power 4 guys, and that doesn't shock me at all. But I think a lot of people have been a little surprised at how heavy they've gone in the group of 5 level. And I'm here to tell you, Colorado needs a complete mentality flip, right? They went all in on power 4 guys, and they got some group of 5 guys last year, but they were all in on the power 4 guys who it's like, okay, this guy did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, just needs an opportunity, right? This guy, former blue chipper out of Alabama, who just needs us, right? He just needs us to figure it out. He didn't figure it out at Alabama under Nick Saban or Kalen DeBoer, but he's going to figure it out now. And I'm here to tell you that Colorado is doing the right thing by targeting group of 5 FCS players. And they're going to target power 4 players. I'm not going to pretend they're not, but you need guys who are hungry. You need guys who are willing to grind, and you need guys who come from strong cultures because Colorado has a terrible culture, right? You could say what you want, and this isn't an indictment on any players in particular, but when you have players who come back late after the bye and they're supposed to be your star players, that's a tough look. When you have players who quit on the team, both while they're playing or they just simply quit on the team and decided not to play the last few games and then transferred, said they were injured, sure. Colorado has a rotten culture. They need to fix it, right? They need guys who come in and bleed the black and gold. They need guys who will come in and are willing to sacrifice they need 22 Tafik Bayards, not 22 Jaheim Otises. And again, I said I didn't want to single people out, but it happened. And I apologize to both people because it's not meant to be a slight at anyone. It's just the truth, right? Jaheim Otis came in, they paid him one of their highest paid transfers, and he gave him 9 tackles and a viral video of Gilly the Kid with a ginormous hat telling him like, hey, the coaches are saying you don't care. Like Colorado needs to target these guys. And this is sort of a message to Colorado fans and even fans of other programs where you're like, why are they targeting so many group of 5 FCS guys? It is on the coaches to develop these guys. It is on the coaches to get the best out of these players. But at the same time, if the transfer portal has taught us anything, it's that going after flameouts from Alabama, LSU, Georgia, you name it, the biggest programs, Ohio State, it doesn't always work, right? You can't always just be like, okay, well, this guy was at LSU, so he's going to be good here. This guy was at Alabama, he's going to be good here. Let's be excited about that. He's going to be a star for us. It's like some of these guys could not make it work at the premier programs in college football where they have unlimited resources and everything in the world going for them. What makes you think it's going to happen at your program who has a little bit less resources and may not have as good as coaches, right? That's sort of the tough lesson that Colorado has learned, right? They've taken so many flyers on guys who are just, oh, he was a 4 or 5-star recruit, came from Florida State, came from Alabama, came from LSU, whatever it is. And it didn't work there, but it's going to work here. And it's like, what evidence do we have that it's going to work here? Because so far it hasn't. And I think that's a lot of that goes on Deion Sanders for not putting the right coaches around him. You put coaches like Andre Hart, who have never had to develop anyone at the college level consistently. You put coaches out there like Coach Mathis, who has never really had to develop a corner. And it's like, okay, well, Travis Hunter, sure. Like, you can't really hang your hat on Travis Hunter because Travis Hunter was the number 1 overall recruit. Like Travis Hunter was going to go pro regardless of where he went. He was probably going to be a first-round pick regardless of where he went. He's that good. He's a generational talent. Colorado has a lot of coaches, or had, it's still a mystery who's completely on the finalized staff, but they had, or possibly still have, coaches who are friends of Deion Sanders who do not have the adequate experience to put players in the right position. Deion Sanders made a few changes, like bringing in Brendan Marion and a couple of his guys. He brought in Coach Mard from Virginia Tech. Like, he is bringing in a couple of guys here and there where it's like, okay, we need you to recruit and develop, as he should, because last year's coaching staff did not always have that. And I think people who are upset for Colorado trying to find these hidden gems, it's like, you have to understand, one, that's where college football is at these days. Group of 5 and FCS programs are essentially feeder programs. Like, I tweeted like this, like Tafik Bayard came from a Group of 5 program, and he's going to go to Ohio State, Indiana, Texas, whatever. He's going to go to a major college football program and probably be in the playoff next year and probably play his way into being a first or top 3 round pick. Shedeur Sanders was an FCS talent, FCS quarterback, and people could say, oh, he had Bama offers, he had this. Shedeur Sanders was committed to FAU before he went to Jackson State to play for his dad. Shedeur Sanders, of course, he had the Bama offers, and of course, he had the Florida State offers. He was a Group of 5 prospect out of high school. And I'm not saying he probably wouldn't have gone to a Power 5 at the time, Power 4 now, and worked his way up the depth chart. But Shedeur Sanders was viewed as a Group of 5 FCS talent, and there was a little bit of projection that he could be better than that. But guess what? He played his way better than that because he developed. He got better. He played. He got a good amount of experience at Jackson State and then took it to the next level. Obviously, he had a few more resources than the average transfer. And not everyone's working out Tom Brady, but Shedeur Sanders worked out just fine. Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss just took down Georgia in the playoff without a head coach. I mean, they have a new head coach, I guess, but with a new head coach and a staff who partially half of them are focused on another job. Trinidad Chambliss was running circles around that Georgia defense. Physically, literally, metaphorically, he looked amazing. He came from the Division II level. Cam Ward came from the FCS level and then came from Washington State. Obviously, Washington State was a Pac-12 program at the time. You get the point, though. There are so many guys where they are proven. CJ Daniels at Miami, wide receiver, started his career at Liberty. There are so many guys where they come from the power, or they come from the Group of 5 or the FCS level, and they just need an opportunity at the biggest stage, right? Maybe in high school, they were a late bloomer, right? Maybe they were undersized. Maybe a lot of people, maybe they had bad grades. Maybe they went to a JUCO. Who knows, right? There's always a reason for whatever goes wrong in someone's life and or career. Some of these guys just need opportunities. And if you're Colorado, find those guys and get the most out of them, right? You have to. You absolutely have to. Sincere Brown had good moments for Colorado. Joseph Williams, although I said I don't trust him to be Colorado's number 1 wide receiver, he came from Tulsa, Group of 5 program, right? Colorado's, I would say, best few players, for the most part, have Zarian McGill, Group of 5 program, right? So I need everyone, whether it's at Colorado or other schools, to stop shooting down these young men that these programs are pursuing, because it's like, hey, they're trying to find a hidden gem. You should be grateful. The former 5-star receiver from Florida State had like 5 catches. The former 4-star, borderline 5-star, the number 1 defensive lineman in the portal from Alabama, he got you 9 tackles. stop chasing helmet stickers and start chasing guys who you could plug in, play, who can develop, who see the vision, who fit the culture, or can help you build the culture, right? Colorado is lacking in those things right now. They do not have enough guys where they fit the culture or can help build the culture up. They have too many guys that came to Colorado for selfish reasons and it didn't work out and they gave up on the program. Shocker. So Colorado is targeting a lot of guys who may be flying under the radar a little bit, but you need to have a little bit of faith. That's all I'm going to say. When we come back, we're going to go over to the basketball court and talk some hoops. I'm not physically going to the basketball court, but we're going to talk about Colorado basketball because they've struggled a little bit as of late. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. Let me tell you about NBA Happy Hour. By the time you could be watching this, it could be NBA Happy Hour. Fridays, they already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the tip-off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame and limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during the NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sports book partner of the NBA. Let's talk hoops. The Buffs, they were looking good until they weren't. I said to really start off Big 12 play strong, they needed to they had two opportunities to add some resume boosting wins. They took on Stanford, a former Pac-12 foe in the Hall of Fame series in Phoenix. They got to play at the Suns Arena, which is cool. I think it's called like Mohegan. Is it the Mohegan Sun? What's that called? No, I lied. It's the Mortgage Matchup Center. Mohegan is the one in Connecticut. But the Buffs lost 77-68. Stanford has a really good freshman who probably may sneak his way into being a lottery pick or a top borderline lottery pick. His name is, Abuka Okorie, 32 points in 32 minutes. The dude was just hitting every shot, 6 to 13. And then they also saw Chisholm Okapara, I believe is how you say it. He's a Harvard transfer. He had 11 points. And the Buffs simply did not do enough. They lived and died by the three again, and they lost. They were 4-17 from deep. Isaiah Johnson was probably one of the lone bright spots, I guess you could say. Him and Hargress, they were both played well. But again, that was a huge missed opportunity for Colorado. And then they had a chance to rebound and sort of play against a nicer Northern Colorado team that's probably going to win their conference and maybe make it to the NCAA tournament. Colorado lost at home. It was the first time, I think it was in 50 years, if I'm not mistaken, that Northern Colorado had beaten them. So that's not great. Or Northern Colorado had beaten them. Not great, right? It was the last time they had beaten them, 13 games. It was a 13-game losing streak for Northern Colorado. Tough look, right? They begin Big Sky play pretty soon, and I thought Colorado had a chance to string together a couple of huge wins leading into Big 12 play, and instead they're sort of licking their wounds, and now they start off with a gauntlet of Arizona State, Utah, Texas Tech, who's really good, and Cincinnati, and none of those teams outside of Texas Tech are like world beaters, but you needed the confidence, and they missed that opportunity. So look for Colorado. They play on the 3rd. That's when they open Big 12 play. Look for them to sort of rebound, and when you live and die by the 3, you're going to have those games, but they need to become a little bit more consistent. That's all I'm going to say. So I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, making Locked On Buffs your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. And I'll see all of you on Monday. Hope you guys have a great weekend and a great start to 2026.